please stand and join us in the flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business, we approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
Also move, Toby.
Don moved. Bob second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 5-0. On our consent agenda, we have a couple items. First would be to move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign 4 tax abatements in the county tax roll for the amount of $1,055.42.
I'll move.
Fred moves.
Second.
Don seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0. I guess that was the only thing on the consent agenda. No miscellaneous motions this morning.
I have those for you to sign real quick, Cody, if
Okay.
you'd like to.
A few minutes before Wayne gets here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Be just a minute. Good morning.
Morning.
I just need to visit with Wade for a moment.
Okay.
I have some documents. I want to see how he wants to distribute them.
Okay.
so far, Cody.
Well, it doesn't feel right starting roundtable 7 minutes after we start the meeting. When's Lindsay? I don't know if she wanna get her monthly,
Oh,
her report due or not
I
at the
just
same
figured-
time.
I didn't come back on the books, cause I figured y'all probably already read them, but,
It slips in, didn't it?
but she did want to talk to you about it. Let me see if she can do it, Lindsay. Okay.
We might have been able to wait for 15 minutes.
Finally, something.
That's true, yeah. Yeah. 10 minutes early.
Don't wait till the end of the line for lunch. Cause I didn't think she was ever gonna stockpile that stuff on my plate. Yeah, well, it's over. Yeah, and brisket, or chicken.
She's gonna go ahead and come on.
No.
Sweet potatoes, they're really good too. What I have, what I got.
That was
Morning,
fast.
Lindsay.
Hi,
Well, that's a
guys.
quick through. I didn't know you could move that quick.
I try. So I apologize for not being able to be here last week. I went ahead and submitted my report to you all, and if you had any questions or have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Otherwise, I do have two different things to talk to you about, and one of those is about legislation. So I had sent you guys a letter. It's a form letter that my state association is putting out because CALD will be asking for some money this year from legislature, and I just wanted to make sure I had your blessing in doing so. When I looked at the policy manual, it says, as long as I'm asking in the best interest of the county, and you guys haven't really put forth a legislative policy statement for yourselves, but I know you guys are members of KAC, and they have. So I didn't know if, as long as I'm falling in line with what KAC has approved, if that's okay to submit testimony. This last week, there was an opportunity to submit some for Medicaid expansion, but I didn't do so not knowing where the county stood on that. KAC does support that. I just wanted some clarification on how I could go forward. I am past president of our association, so I want to use that position to be able to get more money for health departments. I just want to make sure that that's in line with the county wishes. So I assumed it was.
I think it is.
I concur, I believe you're fine,
Okay.
as long as you're within the KAC.
Okay. So that, if that's okay, I will do that as needed, and to try to move that forward for us. And then the second thing I wanted to bring to you, I had the pleasure of attending a meeting on Friday with Craig Marshall at USD 244, and he convened a large group of people seeking input on a child care facility, an educational child care facility for the community. And it was very evident at that meeting that this meets a huge community need. And Wolf Creek was there, the hospital was there, and they both spoke of times when they've had employees that might have moved to Coffee County but chose not to because we don't have adequate child care. By adequate, I mean, we are told from the organization in Southeast Kansas that supports daycares that we are meeting 50% of the need. In 2017, we were meeting 50% of the need, and we've had some close since then. So we're not even meeting half of the need out there. So they've been working with the state surveyor, and she's come in and looked at their facility, and they could offer care to around 63 positions in the county, which would fill a huge need. And I'm just letting you guys know this. I feel like my role in this has been connector and connecting Craig to people who've come to me about this issue, connecting him to them, and also connecting him to different funding avenues that might be out there, connecting him with the state. And one of the things I want to point out is in the work we were doing with Focus on the Future a few years ago, this came up as a priority issue, that we don't have enough child care. I know when Heather Morgan presented to you guys about Southeast Kansas and Project 17, it was one of her priority areas too. And then when we are doing our mental health work, it's coming up as a priority there as well. It is actually on our strategic plan. And then when you read the minutes from last week's Burlington City Council meeting, it was a priority issue from the Department of Commerce for Burlington as well. So just know that there's some movement going forward on this, that I drafted this letter for Craig Marshall to send to the people that were there so we could say, yes, we support you in this, and here's how we support you. But I just wanted you all to know that this is in the works. We are allowed to speak about it out in the community to get feedback on it. One of the cautions that we're treading very lightly is the current daycare providers that we do have, those excellent ones that have been here for a long time. We don't want in any way to interfere with their business. So he is bringing them together to talk to them and let them know this is not to replace you, this is to complement you or to just meet the needs that you guys can't all meet. I don't know, I just wanted to let you know that you have an opportunity as commissioners to support this in whatever way you might choose to. If not, just saying, yes, we agree, this is a high need.
Is this just for one community, or?
No, this would be for Coffee County, I believe. They haven't set any parameters at this point. They didn't speak to that at all, but I can double check that to make sure. So, and this isn't something that is going to open tomorrow or August. This is something they're just setting the groundwork now. They are applying for a grant. The grant is due next month. Yeah, well, I guess it is next week. So, but it is a huge need, and it's something that has come up in my work multiple times.
So I assume this would be similar to what Waverly's done at the school. It would be a daycare at the school run by the district.
I believe so, and
it'd be here in Burlington.
Yeah, and it would be, large enough for 60 kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Waverly's got one?
2 or 3 years now. 2
I know
years.
2.
Really?
At the school.
Yeah.
I know they were able to secure some funding, and they've got one full-time and a couple part-time, maybe even a couple full-time.
Did you bring that?
And it was full up from pretty much when it started. And we've actually had a couple other daycare providers. One of them started back up and then couple new ones in Waverly, but the need is still there. I mean, I'm sure it's in every community.
Cool.
It's,
You bring that up with you? We got some copies from that meeting,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd love them. I'll go grab them.
just so they kind of
Yeah.
read.
Yeah. What was interesting was hearing how Wolf Creek and the hospital have had people not move here. And we've lost families because we just don't have enough daycares. So, the ones that we have are great, but there's just not enough of them.
In your in your second paragraph, by establishing a large childcare facility, not only can we create 12 to 15 new jobs, what's that referring to?
I believe it's the number of people to watch 63 children.
But you're talking about constructing a facility to do it?
No,
Okay.
they are not. I'm talking about constructing a facility.
Okay.
They would
Kind of leaves it that way just a little, so.
they would slightly remodel. What they're looking at right now is slightly remodeling the building that the Board of Ed is in right now. So it used to once be a school, I guess. One of my staff went to kindergarten there. So.
Mhm.
But that's just their initial talks. They haven't made any final decisions. They just wanted this community meeting to talk about the need and if what they were thinking was on track. So I just wanted to let you guys know that and know that there's an opportunity to support what might meet a great need. So, and I'll go grab those and bring those back.
I have one thing that
Sure.
might be a concern. I'm all for it, except I think we need to really look after the existing people we have. And since we're discussing possibly adding jail facility and all that, how will that work with the daycare right across the alley? That might be something that we would want to check out, because it could change how we do something or how they do something.
Okay.
I don't know, the existing is there, but when you're starting to build a new daycare, and sometimes when you start to revamp things, a lot of rules come into place that are grandfathered in, so that would be something we would really want to check out.
Yeah, good point. And also to point out that this is educational based. The sole purpose is to really get children ready for kindergarten and making sure that they're ready for learning, and then also providing that social emotional learning piece that is so important. So I think it'll be a great asset once they get there. One of the local realtor companies was there, and they said that when they bring people in to look at houses in Coffee County, they take them to the rec center, the hospital, those types of places, our library system, and this would just add so much more of what they could show for our community. So it will be a true asset, I believe. So
This letter you have dated January 16.
mhm.
Legislature's talking about appropriating from 1.9 up to 4.1. If that happens, what's that mean for Coffee County?
We are hoping it would mean that we would increase our base from 7,000 to 15,000.
Okay, I seen it was 7 base, okay.
Yeah, we get the 7,000. There's, I believe, 67 counties. I don't know if they listed that in it. There's, I think, 67 counties that get the base level of 7,000. So we're hoping, and we've done the numbers, and that wouldn't even have kept us up with inflation. It would, we've missed out on that for so many years, and we haven't had an increase since 1992. So, but it's high time that they do that. And in our county, we use that money to fund a disease investigation nurse who does our communicable disease control, which would be Tina. So we use that to support the work that we do when people contract a reportable disease. So, but, yeah. So hopefully that moves forward as we'd like it to. But any other questions for me or anything? All right.
How the Burlington come out Saturday or?
Um,
How the boys come out?
We've got 4th.
How's our Friday?
Yeah. All right,
you,
thanks,
Lindsay.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
You too.
Wayne?
Good morning. Morning again. Thanks for allowing me time to visit with Wade.
Whatever.
Okay. Alright. Few things. Visiting with Wade, so, there's gonna be a point at the end that we'll go into executive session, and we'll get Wade to come in. Would have, this one just to pass around at this point. It'd be a report of an accident of one of our snow trucks. So as per policy, it's a report of that accident.
Should we get that thing from my office?
You will. Nobody was injured, the vehicle was, so, insurance-wise, I'll be glad to visit with you onto it. Actually, it'd be the city that's gonna have the report,
Okay.
so you didn't have no, city report that's
Okay.
going to pass on,
Okay.
so, okay. So with that, and then also a follow-up on Mr. Johnson's discussion here last week, so,
On the burn.
yes. So, no road permits, no zoning permits. We'll have the 2020 rock quotation summary. The motion to go ahead and pay for the cost for that door that we did about last week, and then also a motion for equipment rebuild on a blade. So, those are the things, items that will be in here. I believe you got the, you received the rock summary. Everything that's in red is, were changed. Everything that's basically in the black print were prices that we had received here last year on.
We don't have.
We don't have anything.
I'm missing something here.
The lighter,
We
Kinda tough
lighter
to do,
print
it's
is,
kinda tough to do, so well, then with
I
that.
can go run it off and color.
It's all right,
It's all right, you just explain
The
it.
lighter prints are red.
Just tell us
Tell you
what lines are red.
If you like it, just pass it around. Well, it's kinda spotted all around,
It
so.
looks like it's.
They're within a few cents of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be glad to take a look at
most of the
that.
Harshman stayed the same, other than
Biggest
the
one,
new quarry is new pricing.
yeah, biggest one would be the Wolf Creek, what we call the Wolf Creek Quarry.
Yeah.
Those prices were up the whole way. Every one of those has changed.
Which one do you call Wood Creek Quarry?
Mid-state
Mid-
material. very
Mid-state
bottom.
materials. Mhm.
Treasury?
Yes, that's right, Jim's property. In the construction zone.
You got a black and white one.
So on that one, it doesn't require a motion, so as we just continue to move forward, what it does is just, you received a copy of it, that'd be what we'll place in our, budgeting programs and keep moving on. The next one would be to get the motion, approve the motion for the payment of, Evergreen. This would be the overhead door. This would be out of equipment reserve fund for $14,861.50. So,
The motion 2020-02 Upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the payment from the Equipment Reserve Fund for the shop door completed by Evergreen Design Build in the amount of $14,861.50.
Cody, could I ask that we rework that motion just a bit to say, move to approve, payment to Evergreen Design Build in the amount of $14,861 for the shop door, and then funds to come from the Equipment Reserve Fund?
Yeah.
It kind of follows our normal protocol.
I'll move.
Fred moves, is there a second?
Second.
Tom seconds, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 5-0.
The other one is, basically what we're looking at is a tractor rebuild, motor blade, what we call a motor blade. And, of the motor blade that we're looking at, it was purchased in 2007, and the purchase price was $343,701. We currently have, let's see, the hours onto it is 14,158 hours is what we have on that blade. And so through the budgeting process here last year, we asked to go ahead and do a rebuild. We have not done a rebuild before, but what we have on a rebuild is, think of it this way, we take everything off of it, clear down to its metal, and then we rebuild it back up. And so that includes the powertrain, the transmission, the circle, the bushings, everything. Even the hoses are replaced. So all of these things almost make it a brand new blade. And so estimating wise, we're looking at somewhere around, and I think Tom, if you're done with that one, that sheet there, yeah, I'm gonna put it back in my book. Estimating wise, we're somewhere between 114 to 114,000 to 130,000, and we are looking at a 5-year warranty on that as well. And so with this, if you take a look at our last blade purchase, it was $248,723 from Foley for 2019. So there's a lot of benefits to doing the rebuild. One of them would be also is we're not in the new emissions because it was pre-emission for that particular blade. So there's an advantage there. And then just the cost itself, about half of a new blade. Of course, you never probably get a brand new blade, but you get everything up to it with this process. And so this would be a sole source with John Deere is the manufacturer that does this work. So that's the motion that you have before you.
Is this one of the blades with the smaller engines that we got?
In 2017, in 2007, we did purchase. No, this is the 770.
Okay.
So no.
It's not one of those anymore.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that. We've had 2 of them
Right.
that were
That was-
smaller blades.
And the smaller ones when we were having the transmission issues on.
No, I think more of a power performance was our issue there.
Right, but the other Deere machine that we had, that we just traded off for the.
There has been some problems with our power performance, but to answer the question on this one, this is one of the standard size blades that we used. So.
Even though this will make a major upgrade in that blade,
Yes, it
it's
will.
probably not worth much as a trade-in value, so you absolutely are sure that this is economically the best way to go?
Well, if you take a look at, without going out and getting the bids on a trade-in to see what its value
If you
is,
explored that.
to give an idea, reflection of the previous one, which was a 2000 model John Deere. I believe that was the one you were making reference
It
to.
was considerably older.
our trade-in on it was $32,437, so.
So they hit it pretty.
You're not gonna find half or full value on those, for the most part. We haven't, so.
How long do you think it takes to do this?
We have, as this is our first time, and once you get into a shop, I would hope that we would have it back in 6 months, but.
We have something to fill in for it?
We do have an extra blade, in the fleet. So.
Motion 2020-03, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the request for authorization to waive purchasing policy for formal bids to rebuild one John Deere motor grader, unit B002, for good cause due to a sole source for the requested service and repairs from the manufacturer of John Deere. Funds to be paid from a public works equipment line item.
So moved, Cody.
Tom moves, is there a second?
Second.
Tom seconds, any further discussion?
Now, they won't put no mobile boards or anything like that on it, will they?
Well, basically, it's just gonna take whatever's there and then replace it. The mowboard at this point, I don't believe is a replacement item. I believe, and there's no problem that I'm aware of the mowboard at this
They
point.
might put a new blade on it.
Well, as far as the cutting edges
Cutting
and such as that, I think that would be something that we would have onto it.
Okay.
But they will, address that circle though, that the mowboard sets on.
Maybe I missed it. Is there a warranty on this after that?
5-year warranty
5 years.
for the work that they do. And there's different stages or levels of service, but, mine would be that if we're gonna do this and spend the money onto it, take it clear down to the paint. If you're gonna make it right, because you're taking everything off of it. I mean, if you strip it clear down to its iron, to which we are, which they would be doing, rebuild it right. So that would be the thing.
Where's that go to, Topeka?
At this point,
Don't make any difference.
no, I'm not for certain, but I know that we have done a tour of the John Deere facilities where they were doing this, and it wasn't in Topeka. It was back at their home office.
In Moline,
I believe it was. Thank you.
We had similar program at Snorkel when I was there.
They had one there. as
Very
well.
successful.
And I know they also have a
Both
plant for both. And I know there's another plant, and it may be just a brand new one too, but Moline was the one where I saw the tour. The other one was, Arkansas, down Little Rock, I believe it was too, but I'm not for sure if that's where they're doing the rebuild, so.
Having been motioned and seconded, call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. The next one is, as Adrian had came in last week, the location was at 15th and Underwood Lane, is what we have. And this particular one, I don't have any copies, but as I point to it, I'll pass it around. But on the south side of 15th Road, you'll find a waterway, right in there. And so as you see the waterway, then I'm going to show you some other photos that continues to show the work that was done onto it. So,
This is 15th and
Underwood, 15th and Underwood.
Northeast corner of the intersection.
Yes. So, to really just, before I show you the work that we've done, I really have to show you the work that brought us to that point where we needed to do something. And this is what took place, is the water was not able to stay in the waterway, so the water actually was coming out onto the road, and then at that point it was coming down the road and washing the rock away, which you'll see in those two photos. to replace the rock for that mile, for that section, we had 80 tons of rock. It cost us $800 to make repairs back on the road for that one event. Now, keeping in mind, we have more than just a single event in a given year. So it required then at that point was to go ahead and repair the ditching, and what you'll see here, that's about 1,000 feet of ditch work that's done. This one goes south of that location, so now you're on a north-south road. That one's going south. This one here will show what it's done after we were done the repair, and now at this point you can also see the berm a little bit along there. But once again, it does not, we do this when we have that type of problem, that's not uncommon. We just rolled up the back slope, and the back slope now, we just burned it up a little bit to keep that water in that waterway and not come out on the ditch and the roadway where it belongs.
Is that berm on our right of way?
For the most part, the back slope should fall within our right-of-way. Now, exactly, that would have to be surveyed and the stakes onto it, but we generally work from fence to fence or back slope to back slope, is generally the location within our right-of-way.
It looks like that berm's all the ways from the center of that road.
Without having more information on it, I really can't say without staking it and such, but in general terms, once again, is we work within our right-of-way. If we are working outside of our right-of-way, we enter into an agreement with the landowner. If we feel there's going to be an issue to continue to work in that area, we'll acquire additional right-of-way. But I'd also say too, Don, and when you're looking at that, is when you're looking at power poles for the most part, the power poles are setting within the right-of-way. And so you'll find the power poles there. You know, you have all of those things kind of give you an idea about where you're at. But
Was the drainage change that created the problem all at once?
I think if you find the waterway over time fills up.
You can see water in behind that waterway there. There's a pool of water sitting behind it in that one picture.
Yeah, and I believe what happens is maintenance on basically the waterways is they start filling up, and then the edges on the waterway themselves start filling up, thank you. And so where the water can't come from the field into the waterway because of the row cropping or the activities. So I believe it's maintenance on both ends or both sides of the waterway in this particular case.
On that, just, I believe I saw one of the dates there, early last spring.
Mm-hmm. June.
Did that coincide and fall with anything that was submitted for disaster relief?
That one, it's a good question. I wouldn't have that information other than to take a look at it and see. It would seem so, because that would have been the time period. I mean, we're looking at June, we had all the rains there in May. We definitely have documented all the damages, but I would have to get that list from FEMA and be able to answer that. So. Okay. So that's the report I have, and then so the last one would be to, if you would like to have Wade available, I could go ahead and give the engineer's or the construction zone report, but if we'd like to grab Wade, we can go into that as well. So I'm pulling that one from memory. Here it is.
The main concern is Mr. Johnson.
Well, I believe it was the building of the berm.
Is he the landowner?
No, I believe he's the landowner. No.
With the existing landowner, there's no problem.
No, they definitely were agreeable to it.
I believe he was under the belief that the berm was on private land.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson's concerned, if I remember right.
Yes, because he did make mention about are we gonna bill the landowner or something like that?
I think that was his
Yeah, I
concern.
think
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
But I would say that, you know, in that type of activity, we would continue that type of activity. Once again, we try not to stretch outside of our right-of-way, but we go back to, the funnel. Our intention is to, one, is make the road safe. Two, is to minimize the amount of damages that will occur on our roads. So there are times, that we will go back, along our right-of-way or just beyond our right-of-way to make things better, to reduce our cost, improve our safety within our roads. So it's not uncommon. Once again, if we stretch out beyond that and we know it's gonna be a permanent maintenance type issue, then we also acquire right-of-way, to which you have allowed through policy as far as a rate into which we acquire right-of-way, be it pasture, be it farm ground as such. But at this point, we felt that this particular case did not need to acquire right-of-way. Exactly where the right-of-way is at was not necessarily an issue for us as we were improving the drainage along our roadway. And also the landowner was agreeable to that work as well, because they're always playing a part of that.
And the berm will prevent them from farming the ditch.
Well, the waterway prevents them, I mean, the waterway in this particular case, existing, has its purpose, and its purpose is to funnel or channel water more to the intersection than it is to run it over on the road. That you saw that hill on, that basically allows that water to pick up speed and wash more material down. And so it's a benefit on both sides, is to continue to make that waterway work for its purpose, and that is to keep the water in the waterway, not in our ditch. So, that's what we had done. The construction zone is, last week we were not able to work on the guardrail over on 22nd, due to the storms that we had, and so, they're back on, that guardrail, burning brush as needed, doing rock entrances, as listed. And then we have the paving crew is, doing brush, and then also doing equipment maintenance, mowing crew, as you can see there, and still doing 911 sign upgrades on the southeast quadrant. And so, at this time of the year, as you see there, what we're doing is maintaining our right-of-way, going through and our roads, and then cutting the brush back from the structures to the right-of-way themselves at different locations. So that's our main function, in addition to getting our equipment ready for the next season. So then at this point, unless you have any questions, then I would ask that Wade would guide and assist me in the motion to go into executive session.
So, Wayne had met with me to talk about what type of motion, so I believe he's requested a motion for the commission to recess into executive session to protect the privacy rights of non-elected personnel pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to COMA, and that's KSA 754319B1. I believe that would be the board, Wayne, and do you want me in it too?
I'd say yes.
Sure.
What do you think? 10 minutes at the most? 5? Just to report?
10 minutes?
15.
10 minutes.
I always say 10 minutes and
Yeah.
it's not enough, so.
10 minutes.
10 minutes to return here.
Yes.
So moved.
Don moves, is there a second? Second. Tom seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed, same sign. 5-0. Go in at 9:48 for 10 minutes.
No, it's not turned on.
You turned off.
Old quarter.
If it's battery operated, that doesn't help either.
Well, the time right here stopped,
Okay.
so I just pushed the pause button onto it.
Yep, it got stopped at 1:42:57.
So all we have to do is hit the play again right here to get it going again. So, do we have an extra copy of that? I have 4 of them. What I have is, now,
We need to go back in.
Yeah.
I just hit pause on
Oh,
this.
yes, I'm sorry.
So that's
Yes,
okay.
it's on pause.
We'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I can
Put
hit,
it on record for a moment, and then I'll just,
Okay.
we'll go on back in.
okay. I don't know why I have my sample on.
It's cold out.
Oh, I'll sit up front with Mark. You won't bite, will you? Not yet.
Well, I would move we go back in for 10 minutes for the same thing, same people, same reason and everything.
Same motion as before under 75-43-19
Right.
Bob has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 5-0. Go in at
After break.
10 o'clock.
And it's 10 more, right?
Yep, 10 more. At 10 for 10.
The specials at the grocery store, 10 for 10. Yo Play yogurt, 10 for 10. Well, see, like
She punched a button.
Yep, nothing's running. Okay.
No.
First of all, I'd just say, Fred, if he does part of your deal,
All right.
So, do we need to go back in, or?
I don't.
Got it.
This time to get shorter though, Bob, sounds
So, do you have a few minutes to visit on the other one, in your office? Or did you need to go back in?
Depending on where we are.
We're ready for roundtable.
Ready for round, okay.
So if we're ready for roundtable, then
You want me to hang around for a little bit?
good. You hang out in my office.
All right.
I'm gonna leave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
That's on that deal with schools, what they do.
Before you go around the,
Table, I gotta grab a couple things.
okay. Angie, do you have anything for roundtable?
Yeah, a couple things. I got a letter from it's just right here. Oh, here. Okay, I got a letter from the Supreme Court of Kansas that, the term of office for the non-lawyer member of the Fourth District Judicial Nominating Commission will expire the first Monday in March of 2020, and you had Jim Dale on that. So, you will need to either appoint someone to fill the vacancy or reappoint Jim Dale. Usually you have a commissioner on that, I believe. And, so, just to let you know, it needs to be made no later than February 15th. So, and that came this last week, so. I guess that is it. Oh, well, we did talk about checks and vouchers, and I think we,
Wednesday at 9?
yeah, we're doing Wednesday at 9, and then February we had the 26th. In March, I think we said 27th, but I think we'll,
I marked down the 30th.
I did too.
Marked down the 30th, same day with our regular meeting.
yeah, so we'll keep that, and then April, we had 28th, but I think we could do that the 27th and be on your meeting day also, so you don't have to come back in another day. So, and that's all I have right now.
Could I see the letter from the
Yeah,
circuit first?
I can make a copy if you'd like to.
I don't know how much we need to think about that, but because we need an appointment, but
Well, I couldn't remember whether it was non-lawyer or at-large or what, so, but it's traditionally been a
I
commissioner.
would,
Non-lawyer.
just my thinking on it, I would with Cody, because Cody still has 3 years left. And Don and Fred, they're both up for election, they may make it and they may not make it.
Yep.
And.
Well, I'm not running, so.
So Fred's out then, so Cody's gonna be here for at least 3 years, so that, you know, we'd cover that time frame. And
I think that'd be a good choice, Bob. If Cody's willing to do it.
Cody is willing to do it, he doesn't do anything else, so.
Yeah, I got all kinds of free time.
How long does that committee meet? Or do they do it before?
Just when necessary.
I think it's just
That's
when
just when
necessary. And like
Yeah.
when you've got a judge that retires or something, then he would be a part of that and appointing with the committee a new judge or.
I can do it if that's the nomination.
Well, I would make that motion.
We second it.
Having been motioned and seconded, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We had people on that
I
that never did anything, because there was no judges came up.
Right. So I assume they've got an official letter to send to them?
Yep, I can get that sent off.
All right.
Do you have more than just your cell phone number? Do you have anything?
Just cell phone,
Okay.
that's it. Yep. 785-448.
What's last one?
785-448-8429. Everything. Fred, do you have anything for roundtable?
No, I don't.
Tom?
Nope.
No? I don't. Donna?
Fred, you have fiber board tomorrow at 9:30 instead of 9. And then on Friday from 1 to 3 is J.R. Smith's retirement party at the county side. And then Fred is on.
And then did you get Tom and I enrolled in the?
No, I was waiting to hear back.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Are you both a yes for
I
the
am, but
February 21st class in El Dorado and the March 6th class in Salinas? Cody?
I am for sure.
What about you, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Randy, did you have something for us today?
Not that I can think of. Did they get those I was gone last week, did they get those letters up for Cody to sign on the architects?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll go and go do that. Are you gonna be here a while, Cody?
I would imagine so. Wade's got,
Something.
something for us, so.
Okay. I'll go, I don't know why they didn't, they were supposed to bring those letters up on the architects for the jail study,
Okay.
for you to sign and me to sign, just official letters letting them know our decision and.
Okay. Have you gotten anywhere with getting the time for?
I am,
us
I'm
and
getting closer.
Judge Wine?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oh, to drift back, did anybody get a chance to read over their salary study stuff?
I just glanced at that, and there was I think it is almost identical to what was before, might have been.
Yeah, this is the company we originally picked anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to move forward with this, or are we not gonna move forward with this, I guess?
Well, unofficially, I was thinking we'd bring it up at our department head meeting.
Okay.
Just because kinda last time, when we got ready to make that decision, they were all here, so at least we can present it then.
Good enough. Did anybody get a chance to read over the last application for the economic development?
I looked at those.
I detailed them out pretty good yesterday. I wasn't as impressed as what I was hoping I would be.
And this last one is a better one for me.
Seemed like a lot of those applications, they've done a lot of moving around, a lot of them did.
Some of them, yeah.
Moved from state to state to state, which
Mhm.
bothers me. A lot of them, 20 years, had 10 different jobs, moved quite often.
The state, or the national average is 5 in one job.
I know. And like I said, I reviewed them pretty hard yesterday and scrutinized them pretty hard and wasn't real pleased. So Tom, I don't know where we go from here.
Okay.
One other subject that we haven't really, or I haven't been aware that we've discussed is, county attorney's situation on needing more room. Has any one of you or talked with him any more about his needs, or have you investigated where we might go with it?
I know he said he needs something sooner as opposed to later, waiting for the jail study and all like that's not an option.
So I'm wondering how we proceed here. We need to be moving on that.
Well, I talked to him, and we actually went around and looked at some areas, probably it's not, I know it's gonna change, might make changing some people around, but it's not, it's actually displacing people, it's just.
Well, that's what I'm talking
on a
about, but
on a temporary basis, moving people around, that we've done that before,
Right, and I'm just saying, maybe we ought to
but
be getting to it.
I think he's thinking
Yeah.
about it, I think he's thinking about the issues, so I don't know where he's at with it.
He's here, so
We just haven't looked at some.
talk about
We
it.
were talking about your situation and needing more room and what's being done and,
More room and, another staff member. Maybe catch me up to speed on what I don't know what was talked about, so.
We
well, it was just an inquiry is what's being done.
I just told him that you and I had gone and looked at a place or two, but
Yeah, I mean,
you were probably thinking about it, so.
as I've mentioned before, my goal is not to displace anybody, it was only to express, a need, and I want whatever place in the building, if that's where it happens, to have their input and say, and because, just because I need space doesn't mean that it's gonna potentially make their operation come to a complete halt. I would imagine for me to move my office somewhere, it would shut me down for a week, which would, I mean, I'd have to handle court, but to get wiring and phones and things like that changed, I mean, it's not anything, I'll say this, that I'm excited about at all, because it creates more problems, and I'm sure there's problems that are not even known at this time. I mean, IT, computer, who knows what. So as far as an additional staff person, I've been talking with Lori and Anita, creating potential job responsibilities and figuring out what each one of them do that could be absorbed into a new position, and there's plenty. It's a busy operation. There's a lot of, with just the way the court system's set up, the type of cases that we have, I think this compensation study is coming at probably a good time, because reviewing and revising job descriptions, that'll allow the time and opportunity to make that happen. Now, that's further on down the road. Getting a new person in place probably is a more important and more pressing issue, and making the decision on whether that's a part-time or a full-time person. I don't know, and that's what we're working through right now. So that's the best answer I have.
I was just wondering if we need to be doing something to initiate the space for you.
Yeah, and for the space, I think coming up with a good fit is probably the first part. And I'd want the input feedback from Lori and Anita, because I mean, they're the ones who will have to deal with the brunt of the issues with the space, and if someone else comes aboard, you know, from time to time. We have an intern, and we have an intern in the office right now, and they kind of sit off in a little spot in the corner where they can fit, and they're bare bones operation there, which works. But if we have someone in on a more regular basis, they need some dedicated space, they need a desk, they need a computer, all of those things. So the economic development office that I looked at, I think that, I mean, in all honesty, after thinking about it, that office, I think, contains the same amount of space as what I have just designed in a different way, and I think we'd end up potentially in the same spot. The other office, which one is that, the extension office?
Across the hall.
Extension.
I mean, it seems to have more space, and I haven't really thought about what a layout or design in that office would look like, but it appears to have more space than what the county attorney's office has now, the economic development office, and I don't know if there are other options, but those are the only two that I'm aware of at this point that have been brought to my attention.
I know it appeared to me that the extension office has definitely got more square footage. It's already got a reception deal, it's already got 2 offices, plus it's got another office off to the east.
Conference room.
Conference room. Is it used anything other than extension service, Angie?
No.
My thought is, if you didn't mind being downstairs, maybe you ought to be able to do a little design work and see if it is something you could fit. Then there may be another location in the courthouse. I don't know.
The only other one I saw might be mapping.
Mapping.
Yeah.
Well, we can move the extension office. We can move you out to the extension office, move the extension office over to economic development, move economic development up here, because we don't have any idea where economic development's going anyway. We only have one employee in economic development now, and you actually have 2 different offices up here for a temporary basis, because I still think that after we do the jail study, we're gonna be doing something different, and I still think that would be the place to put you after the jail study is in there as a temporary deal. Maybe we do some switching around. I mean, we got the big office downstairs with 1 person in it now, and Don just made a comment, we don't know where we're going from there, and I don't know where we're going from there either. I would really like to look at some other opportunities other than just go out and hire people, but maybe that's an opportunity as if extension, if that would work for them. But of course, at the same time, if it doesn't work for extension, we kind of need to talk to them before we go jump in and do it, but see where that goes.
How many full-time people's in the extension office? There's three? There's three, isn't there?
3.
4, and they have a summer intern.
Well,
They actually have another intern right now, so there's 4 in there, 4 people.
but to me, with theirs, they'd probably be a little bit more flexible and maybe putting 2 in the same office too, than what an attorney's office would need to be.
The only thing about extension is they have a kitchen down there, and they actually do projects.
Yeah.
They do use that kitchen for projects that they do for classes and stuff, so. That would be you take that away from them, I don't know.
How receptive to some change are you, idea-wise?
Willing to listen.
I think we're willing to listen to anything.
Well, I haven't put it on paper yet, and I've been meaning to get with Wade and Cody when we have our jail study meeting for a temporary setup that would allow maybe some more space in existing without having to move a lot of people. I started working on it last week from home, and I just haven't got it completed yet. It'd be easier for me to draw it and present it than to try to explain it. But, I mean, it would be some change, it would be something temporary, I think it'd be beneficial to everybody, but I can get that done in the next couple of days. Get with Wade and see his ideas or thoughts on it, but it would mean some rearranging internally and stuff, but if it's an option, I'll be glad to throw it out there to you guys as part of an option while I don't know how long you're gonna research before you make a decision. Huh?
I think we'd be willing to look at any option.
Okay.
I would hope we would anyway.
Yeah, and maybe it'd be something that it may not be beneficial at all, it may just be totally undoable, but.
Got letters here from Sheriff Rogers to the 3 architects firm that we met with, that some of us met with. Basically two rejection letters and a letter to move forward with GGA, if you want to read those, and then I assume we need a motion to direct the chairman to sign those.
Really, all we would need is a motion to approve the one we're going with. The other 2 would be a no-brainer.
Well, I don't know if we need a motion to go with GGA, because it's not like we're signing a contract with them yet. We're just sending a letter that says, hey, we pick you.
That's the reason I was careful on my wording,
Right.
not to say, we just to
Basically,
move forward
just need to-
exploring options and the potential of working with their firm.
Basically, just need a motion to direct the chairman to sign those letters. Not.
And then I guess from my perspective then, as I get this together, anything I would do or on behalf of the committee, I'd bring back to the commission. Because I know there's gonna be questions, once we are able to get the format or the criteria that we're wanting them to look at, since we've expanded it, once we get those questions together and present them to them, then they can probably come back with a proposal as to what, a cost would be for the study, et cetera, and all those things would have to come to you guys.
Would there be a motion of intent by the recommendation of the sheriff to go forward with one group?
Yeah. Well, Cody will need them. Yeah, Brad needs to.
That's all right.
Can I look at what it is?
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, maybe you ought to look at it.
Make sure the wording is correct. Oh, God, he's gonna get his red pen out.
With approval as to form. It's actually a pencil.
Pencil. And they are on computers, so my assistant can rewrite them if it needs rewritten. But,
If there's enough correction in it, we can do it Wednesday too, so.
oh, okay.
Because we're back here Wednesday, so.
Yep, be glad to redo them
Why don't we just do it Wednesday, give Wade a little bit of time to look at it instead of having to look at it right at the moment?
Okay. We can do that. I'll be here, so I'll just come back. We'll just look at it and I can get with you and.
Okay.
Be glad to.
Okay. Wade, do you have anything for roundtable?
Yes.
Were you making a motion on that?
Well, we're gonna wait till Wednesday.
Wait till you-
Yeah.
Oh,
Ready to
okay.
check some vouchers. Yep.
So, as I seem to do weekly now, which isn't my favorite thing, but request a motion for the commission to recess into executive session for consultation with the county counselor to discuss ongoing county litigation for matters deemed privileged under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 754319B2, myself, the board, and the treasurer.
How long?
10 minutes?
So moved.
Bob moves, is there a second?
Second.
Tom seconds. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0. Coming at 10:34 for 10 minutes.
You keep it up and you're gonna get smacked with that.
Wade, no.
Karen, if you don't mind, would you move up? So we don't have to shout at each other.
All right, as we,
Where's your chief, sir? Chief suite.
it's, my socks are cheap.
Wait, could we go back in for 5 more minutes? I want to question something else. Same thing.
Okay.
You got much else, Wade, where we might be here?
I've got several things.
We'll take a quick break.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We did miss the 10 o'clock break.
Yeah, we did.
The rest of what you got, executive sessions as well.
One non-executive session, the other executive session.
We're back in.
Taking a break, then we're gonna go
Okay.
back in.
Okay.
We're taking a break, we're going back in.
Okay. Wendy, did you sign the book?
Oh, I didn't sign, did I?
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Okay, who wants to make a motion?
Also, we go back in for 5 minutes for the same purpose.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Go back in for 5 minutes at 10:50. Return here at 10:55.
You push the button on the clicker in the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
I get it. Jim Decker was a POW. To this day, he only writes. And, I buried my father 50 years ago in November. My cousin has come back from Nam, the 21 gun salute. He jumped.
If we don't,
I don't want to drag it out just because of that.
Probably fell on the
I found them on the floor, I figured it was really, because it looked like they were in the hallway.
I need to request motion for permission to recess into executive session, consultation with county counselor, discuss ongoing county litigation for matters deemed privileged under the attorney-client relationship under KSA 754319B2. Myself and the commission, 5 minutes.
So moved.
Tom moves. Tom seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Going to 10:57 for 5 minutes to return here.
Tom, I don't eat rice either,
Is that,
because I saw it crawling off out of the bowl.
So Jim writes that. Where was that?
In the bleachers.
That's a record you don't want to have.
And that dog was going nuts till it could get to it.
Wade, did you have something else?
Request another executive session, motion for commission to recess into executive session to protect privacy rights of non-elected personnel pursuant to non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 754319B1, and myself, the board, and the county clerk.
How long?
15.
Oh, second.
Bob moved, Tom Tom seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Went for 15 minutes at 11:04. And
That doesn't matter, the store's open.
I would, make move that we go back in the same people for the same reason, for the same amount of time.
Second.
Bob's moved, Tom has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Go in at 11:21 for 15 minutes.
So where I was
Wait a
leaving,
minute.
It just went to 20. That'd be a little bit.
so where I was leaving,
Don't take high input on it, it takes the swelling down. And that's good.
What else you got for us, Wade?
Who said that, Randy?
Kinda like.
I didn't say-
Kinda like new Strong City Council meetings.
No. I'm in.
What's your record for city council meetings?
Their record for,
Number of executive sessions?
It's
nothing like 3 or 4.
Oh,
3 or 4.
We still got one more to go with them, Bob.
that was 7, so
Trust me, I'm not happy about it.
it's not by choice.
No. And with that in mind, and this is the last one, request, motion for executive session consultation with the county counselor to discuss potential county litigation for matters deemed privileged under the attorney-client privilege or exception, KSA 754319B2, 5 minutes.
With,
Myself and the commission.
So moved.
Don moves, is there a second?
Second.
Fred seconds, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5 votes. Go in adjourned for 5 minutes, 11:38.
That's what we were just talking about. Where is? See, that's why they don't let me have the cuts and stuff.
Anything else? Anything else?
Three middlemen if it just brought it to my house.
Put this here, so you guys can.
No, we gotta recess, because we'll be here late. That's fine. Are you sure that's it?
That's enough for one day. It's actually more.
Don't give him much time to think about it.
Yeah. Recess until 9 AM Wednesday, the 29th. Sign checks and vouchers.
Yeah.
11:44.
11:44.
We'll leave both basketball games today, Fred,